Welcome home, welcome home. It feels good to be home. Welcome to the Life Coach Each One Teach One Reentry Fellowship in partnership with All of Us at Non-Kentucky Podcast, where we'll be exploring the lived experiences of those currently incarcerated and formerly incarcerated, uplifting those stories, voices, and experiences, along with those journeys to success. So get relaxed and join us as we uplift those voices. I'm your host, Savvy Shabazz, coming to you today in Black History Month. This is our third season. We're in our third season. I got a real special guest that I met a few years ago doing some of the work that we do at All of Us at None conference. Me and the brother, we talk a lot on the phone. We've traveled this nation doing this work together. And I just want to be thankful enough that the brother came into the podcast and wanted to share some of the time with us. Could you state your name, please?
Steve Huerta, Huerta.
Yeah, where are you located at, Steve? I'm all the way in Kentucky, man. Where you located at?
I'm calling you in from San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, Texas. I love Texas. I love Texas.
The tip of the deep south.
The deep south. San Antonio, the Alamo, right?
Yes, the Alamo.
So we've been doing this work for a while. Like I said in the introduction, man, we've traveled this nation. I think I met you in 2016, and we've traveled this nation, doing this work that we do, man. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your journey with the justice system? Like, how'd you come to doing the work that you're doing now? Like, what was your experience like with the justice system? How'd you come along with that?
That's a powerful question for me because I sort of grew up as a homeless kid from the age of about 11 years old, so I was about 17. I used to live in restrooms and eat out of dumpsters. And I usually stayed at the restroom that was closest to the school that I wanted to go to. Amazingly, because homeless kids, they would walk into each school and convince them to allow me to register. Back then, I guess there just wasn't, too much regulations. And my first, involvement with the justice system was as a homeless kid, being harassed by park rangers and police officers who would catch us sleeping out there.
Yeah.
Tell us to leave and stuff. Back in the early 80s, there was really no, I'm not going to say that it exists now, but there was really no concern for the youth. And so me and a whole bunch of other homeless kids, always being chased out by the police and stuff, morning. 10 years old, it's 3 a.m, and so you can't be here, you gotta go and stuff. And so that's the situation and how my first contact with the justice system. As a homeless kid.
So how much time did you end up serving?
Well, that's a good question because I've sort of been in and out of jail at my younger age for unlawfully carried weapons, firearm theft, all this stuff, and all these charges I got dropped. I'll tell you, that's another story. But so I guess I spent a total of about maybe 3 years right behind bars. Total, I count up all the time that they popped up and all that stuff.
Okay.
But I was sentenced. I was given a sentence of 5 years in state jail felony here in Texas, which is a day by day sentence, which means that there is no parole. You have to actually do it every day.
Day for day.
Yeah. Day for day. They say it's a 5-year max, but they say 5 years, it's 5 years. That isn't to it. There is no time served, no time credit, or anything.
No good time, no meritorious good, none of that, huh?
None of that.
Day for day.
Yeah, so I became a fugitive. The probation and all this other stuff that they wanted me to do at the time was just a lot, and the fees and the fines. It pretty much was equal to my rent, or if not more. And so I basically said, like this, I'm getting the hell out of here, and I took off. For 2 years, I was hiding out at a local church where I was doing a lot of volunteer work and stuff.
So hold on. So you were on the run and you were hiding out in the church that you were volunteering for.
Yes.
So you were on the run, still trying to do what was right in your heart.
Yes. As a matter I would tell you that it paid off, because when I did get cut and I went in front of the judge, Mary Roman, that's her name. She was very well known in kindness, and is a hanging judge. You were told that you had 175 in Bear County, you were like, fuck, that was it. You were screwed. There was nothing you could do. You were like, people were like, oh, that's it, man. You're sending you. And so when I went in front of this judge, she was handing out, years like it was candy. And it's no exaggeration. It was just like 20 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 10 years, 10 years, 5 years, 10 years. And I'm freaking out. I'm shit.
We definitely gonna give her some booze for handing out that much time to people, right? We gonna send her some booze for that.
She deserves some booze, so I finally get in front of her, right? And she heard from the people from the church that I was at home, and then she asked me straight out. She says, is there anything you want to say? I said, yes, may I speak? She said, yes. And I'm telling you, this is a lady who was about to sentence 5 years. And I said, she says, what do you have to say for yourself? And I said, well, my name is Stephen Huerta, and I am not a number to be thrown away. I'm a father,
that's right.
A brother, an uncle. I told her, I have given back to my community. Even when I was in the gun, I told her that, my probation officer knew exactly where I was at.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't report, but they knew where I was at, and stuff. And long story short, she turned around and actually gave me 6 months, gave me time credit.
Oh, wow.
And this was in February, but this is a woman who just scared the living shit out of people. Just hearing her name and you crapping your pants. That's how much she scared people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was like,
that's a lot of power to have over someone's life,
Yeah, that's fear. This is a Hispanic person. That was like, so I had my son. So this judge went from trying to give me 5 years to making it down to 6 months. And then she tells me, I understand you have your son. I said, yes. She allowed me to stay free until the summer while he finished school. Made sure that my sentence was only in the summer and that I was out of the system before school started.
Yeah, that's a blessing right there, man.
And might remove some of those moves, but the moves are still there.
So she worked with you, with your son and everything, So that leads right into our next question. Like, so how did this affect like you and your family? You just shared with us you had a son. So how did that time that you had to do, like, how did that affect you and your family?
Well, that I'm going to answer that question with this statement. Sammy, and thank you for having me on this call. This is Black History Month.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, and I want people to know that my name is Stephen Huerta, and I am the other black guy in America that we don't talk about.
Hold on, Steve. Could you repeat that? You are what?
I am the other black guy in America that we don't talk about.
Yeah.
That's who I am. I'm the other guy. I'm the other you. And the system affected me equally because I am listed as a white man in Texas, right? White without privileges. That's what I am. I'm considered white, but I'm not given the white privilege. I don't know how they.
You're considered white, but you're not given the white privileges, and you're actually the other black brother that's never talked about in America.
Yes. So I'm a white man that doesn't have white privileges, but I'm also the other black man in America. And that's what really stuck to me. And when I re-entered society, and let me rephrase that too, I was never really re-entered society. I came back into society, but it didn't re-enter. I wasn't given the opportunity for jobs. I wasn't given the opportunities for work. I wasn't given the opportunities for a place to live. It was so difficult. I had to live with relatives, and that isn't easy. Then I had to live with friends. That isn't easy. And so, I struggled for a long time. But at the same time, I was educating myself, and I was going to school, which is where I ran into an Iranian professor. His name is Khalid Assad. and a damn good government professor. And he, looked at me and just told me, hey, this is the guy who actually inadvertently, without knowing it, introduced me to All of Us or None. He didn't
Really?
even know All of Us or None existed. So I'm in class and he tells me, hey, and I hear what you're saying. You have these powerful statements and all this other stuff. He goes, have you ever looked online to see if there are any groups that are former prisoners who are trying to start something? And it just didn't dawn on me. So I get online and I look, and the only organization way back, this is 2004, about 8 months after All of Us were done, actually officially started in 2003, that I made contact with them and then became an official chapter.
This was back in 2004, Steve?
Yes, this is
back
in
2004. It's funny that you sharing this, brother, because that's kind of how I got introduced to All of Us and None. I came home and I thought, get a job, of course, and everything was going to be okay. But one of my friends sent me a text and said, hey, look up this right here and join this when you get a chance. I'm like, man, what is this? And I looked it up and I got to read. And I'm like, hold up. So you're telling me there's a whole group. And at this time, 2016, there was only 6 chapters. I think there's 29 or 30 now.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, Steve, and I was just like, hold up. You mean to tell me that there's a group of people that got backgrounds just like mine, some worse, that's putting in work to fight the same system that put us away? I'm like, this can't be real. But I went to the conference out in Oakland, man, and that's when we actually met, man. So I'm glad you shared that, man, because it just blew my mind too, man. So, Steve, while you were in, you made it out. So how did you utilize your time?
That's an interesting question. So I didn't have commissary, but I've always been that, a smart kid, just didn't have the opportunity. As a kid, as a homeless kid, people called me the professor. I would always be. Well, I used that skill to hustle what I needed in the system. So what I did, and this is when I kind of was, this is before All of Us tonight, right? I'm locked up.
Uh-huh.
So I went to the law library. I said, I could do this. And I would actually write letters to the judges for the guys for, re-sentence. So I became like a writ writer. And did all this in a matter of 3 months, mind you. And helped a couple of guys actually get released. One of them was re-sentenced, a lower sentence and stuff.
Yeah.
So, in return, I got commissary stuff, So that's how I got my commissary and stuff, because people, I would charge people for writing love letters for them, or writing a letter to the judge, or any type of paperwork. They needed a grievance and they wanted to make sure it was done right. I was their guy. Everybody.
Gotcha. So you pretty much spent your time basically helping others, right?
Yes.
Gotcha. So it came a time when you were released, you went in front of the judge. Did you ever see the parole board or the probation hearing or something like that?
No, there is no probation hearings in Texas. If they revoke you, they just revoke you for whatever reason they want to put on there, small technicality, whatever.
Gotcha.
And because I was a state jail felony prisoner, I didn't qualify for parole, so there was no.
Gotcha, man. So you're out now. You said you was in class and this and that. Steve, it comes a time when every last one of us is going to be released, right?
Yes.
What resources or services did you see that we need once we're released? What were you faced with? Like, what did you see that people needed? You just did this time. You're coming home from prison, coming home from incarceration. What did you see then, and what do you see now that people need when they're released?
Well, when I first got out of the system, I saw the resources you're asking about. I didn't have 20/20 vision. I didn't have the activist 20/20 vision. It was really off balance. Things were blurry because I saw the programs, but I didn't really understand them. And then but I kind of knew that they were very limited in actually providing something for me. And some of them, if not all of them, that I had gone to were really just capturing information. We'll give you a call, and I'm like, well, the hell was that? I spent the last 2 weeks going to 4 or 5 different organizations And all I did was gave my name, my phone number, my email, what my charge was, blah, blah, blah. So everybody was, using me as a number and stuff. But then I got 20/20 vision. And this is what led me to really start looking to see about what I need to do to change things.
Yeah.
Because when I got 20/20 vision, when my eyes got more clearer, I began to realize, well, the problem is that they treated me as a number to meet a grant number, right? This is before I even knew about grants. I just kind of figured it out. But I said the other problem is that even if they did house me or employ me, it's temporary and very low living conditions or very low pay. There was no chance of or benefit to advance or increase my individual wealth or the wealth of my family. So what I saw in the 20/20 vision was we didn't just need the resources that were inadequately and still inadequate out there for us for various reasons. We can cover that another time. But I also saw that we needed to have actual structural policy changes because it's the barriers to that success that was keeping. So the state, right? So you get it. Check this out. So I get out out of prison, and they slapped me with a several $1,000s, almost like $20,000-$30,000 child support.
Oh my gosh.
They threatened to lock me up if I don't pay it and shit. So I got into a room, got a serious discussion with the judge when they called me into court. I said, how the hell, Mr. Butler? I said, hey, what the? Here comes the bailiff and everything. I said, how the hell are you going to tell me that you're going to incarcerate me because I can't get a job to pay these bills, but yet you won't change the law to allow me to get the job, to get a raise, to pay this bill. I said, you're working against yourself and expecting me to work with you. You're just as crazy as the law itself.
Yeah.
But how do you expect me? And so that's when I really, started looking for what can I do? What can I do? And by the grace of the universe, all of us are none. Dorsey Nunn just
big shout out to Dorsey Nunn. Big shout out to Dorsey Nunn.
If it wasn't for Dorsey, I don't know what the hell I'd be doing. Dorsey Nunn, coming up with this idea with all those 50 other individuals and George Galvez and all these others,
Big shout out, big applause to Big George. I love being in the space with Big George when we travel, man.
Yeah, that's wisdom, those men are full of wisdom, and they've paved the way for me to be involved in the way I am today.
Yeah.
They provided all that leadership and stuff, but
yeah.
But get to the point what I was talking about is that's one of the reasons why I said, we have all these resources, but we really don't have these resources, and none of these resources really matter if I'm gonna always be stuck here.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I totally agree.
It doesn't work, as soon as so you get food stamps, right? Or you get something like that. They give you $100 some dollars a month food stamps, but then you go get a part-time job, and then they take away those food stamps. So the whole system is set up just to work against us.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. As soon as you try and get ahead, they make sure you stay in poverty by removing the resources.
I totally agree.
To get ahead. Those are the things that I saw when I looked at the resources in our community. I saw the inefficiency and the inadequacy of how they operate. I saw the serious lack of concern for policy advancement in the area. People who were working to employ people like me didn't give a shit about the law that said I couldn't have that job in the first place. People who were trying to put me into a place to stay, they didn't care if the apartment didn't want to allow me to stay there because of my conviction. All they cared is that they got a number if they wrote down and said, "Oh, but we prefer you to housing." That's all you did.
So it sounds like that you're saying some of the resources we need is housing and employment, like legitimate shit, right?
Yeah,
not just taking my name and number and just throwing it in a pot in a system somewhere, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are now there are a lot of more resources, but I'm talking about the core things that you need to start actually being stable to even have a job, right? It's going to be housing and it's going to be employment.
Yeah.
A lot of other stuff we need and stuff, but those two things, even to be a good parent, right? Even to be a good parent.
Parenting
right?
skills, yeah. That's that. Our sister. Our sister Stephanie Jeffcoat. She pushes family reunification, and that's something that I don't hear a lot in the community I'm in here. Is family reunification that matters too? When a person has kids, I mean, you've had a disconnect for months or years. Like what does it look like when you come back home and just pop up? Hey, I'm back, right? It's bigger than that, right?
I used to train. Stephanie does great work here in Texas for about maybe 5 years or more. I did parenting at the federal penitentiaries as well as here at the jail, and have very successful in unifying parents with their children. I was one of 3 people back then. I don't know if there's any more now, but one of 3 people in the state of Texas who actually specialize in family unification with parents that have what they call discretionary disqualification.
Gotcha. Are you familiar with the term involuntary servitude? When you hear that involuntary servitude and abolish slavery, what comes to mind? I mean, it's some work that we're doing. We got a national campaign going on. What does that look like coming from you, brother? I want to hear your take on that. We got a few minutes left. I want to hear what your take is on involuntary servitude when you hear that.
Involuntary servitude affects everybody involved in the justice system, and it's a horrific practice that goes all the way back to the slave days of America. When I think about involuntary servitude, people working in prison and not being paid for the product that they're producing so they can support their families while they're incarcerated, that's a travesty of justice. But one of the biggest things that I also like to point out to people who are listening, who are the other black person in America like me, the other white man without privileges like me, we are just as affected as our African American brothers and sisters in voluntary servitude as they are. We just don't understand it. We're just so isolated in the way we think about our different cultures. But that's by design. They want us to have separate mentalities about the issue and separating the way that it's like separate race.
Yeah.
But the truth is that we are in this fight together.
Yeah.
And if we're going to end involuntary servitude in America, if we're going to end the unjust system in America, let me rephrase myself. One way to do that is to produce one of the most frightening presence that power hates to see, and that is a united front of black and brown communities.
Oh, yes. Leaders. Yeah, big applause to that right there. And I don't see it a lot here, and I tell people all the time, Steve, when I'm traveling, the nation putting in work with you all, whether it's a retreat, whether it's a conference, we've been out knocking on doors, phone banking, text, man, we've put in this work, right? And I feel so safe and so comfortable, around all of us are none and FICPFM family, right? And I often come back home and I'm the only formerly incarcerated person in spaces. And I remember I was talking to Miss D at JLUSA, and I was telling her about it. And she said, she said, I challenge you to start creating those spaces of formerly incarcerated people in your city. So you can have that same feeling that you have when you're with us all the time. So that's something I really think about, man. I'm really pushing forward to, man. So Steve, you done got involved with the justice system. You did your time. You're back out. You're in school. You got your son. Everything's going back. You done joined All of Us at None. You done met Dorsey Nunn, and you're doing all this policy work. What are you doing now? Because I don't hear nothing but good things about you when I'm with you and even when I'm away from you. And I know we've had a lot of conversations about the work that we do. Steve has helped me in regards to data, policy, voting rights campaign, you name it. If I need something, I can always call Steve. So, Steve, what do you share with the audience? What are you doing now?
Well, this past couple of weeks, we're finishing up documentary filming. I'm part of a documentary film on the work that I've been doing for the past 2.5 years on the 1994 crime bill. We've already finished writing it, visited members of Congress, and we're getting ready to launch the video documentary.
Congratulations! I can't wait to hear it, man. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and the other thing that we're doing is we always working on our getting our voters out. So that's an important issue. But we've also started a new program here where we help people with felony and misdemeanor warrants, and I hope them clear that sort of avoiding the bail system, avoiding being arrested, and so just getting the warrants so they can go back into the courtroom and settle their business. So that's one of the things we did. We had a major launch on January the 19th. Where over 125 formerly incarcerated people and about 15 to 20 grassroots organizations led by formerly incarcerated people.
Big shout out for that work, man.
That was our launch. We had our felony district court judge, Ron Rangel, who emceed the panel. We had a panel of formerly incarcerated people. Elected officials were active listeners in the audience. So they weren't the ones up front talking to us. They were in the audience listening to us, speaking with us.
We're really big on that, Steve. Let the experts lead in their space.
Yes. And the other thing is today, I'm going to be a grandfather again.
Congratulations. Big applause to you for that.
Thank you, sir. My daughter-in-law just went into the hospital, and so my grandson should be born today.
Congratulations. So, again, big thank you, man, for coming in and joining us, man, and sharing your experience. I look forward to seeing you soon. I know I'll see you at a conference, a retreat, or even if it's just a virtual call. We stay in contact. We text. We got a lot of work to do. So thank you for joining the Life Coach Each One Teach One Reentry Fellowship in partnership with all of us at Non-Kentucky Podcast. Welcome home, where we have again explored the lived experiences of those of incarceration from the experts of formerly incarcerated people and directly impacted people. Join us every week for a new episode of Welcome Home, and you can contact us at lifecoacheach1teach1.org for more information. Big shout out and thank you to all the supporters and listeners. You are appreciated. And remember, no one rises to low expectations. Until next time, I am your host, Savvy Shabazz.